into this church. When I am very careful about the men that I choose to fill this pulpit in my absence, because I know that they will stand up here and they will speak with doctrinal integrity of the teaching. Why? Because we got some walls around here when it comes to biblical truth. Have you built margins into your personal life, or are you living on the edge? Now, just very quickly, as I thought about an Old Testament or a biblical character that might illustrate the opposite. We just talked about him not long ago. Remember Samson? He's the he-man who had a she problem. And by the way, Delilah wasn't the only messed up woman in his life. He had a lot of others going. One of them's not even named. We just know she was a prostitute. That kind of says it all. But here's the thing. And his long hair was just, his strength really wasn't in his hair. That was a symbol of his commitment to God, his devotion to God. It was a symbol of his boundary before God. But he was so delusional, he does what a lot of Christians do today. He thought that he could fight the battles of God by day and live like the devil by night, and it would all be okay. That's self-deceived is what that is. And you know the story. We heard this story growing up in church. Eventually, he reveals that symbol of his strength. The Philistines, she cuts his hair. Judges 15 says, Delilah screams, "The Philistines were upon you, Samson." And he awoke from his sleep. Listen, he said, "And I will go out as at other times, and I will shake myself free." Listen to these words. But he did not know that the Lord had departed from him. Then the Philistines seized him. Now here's a good 3-point outline here. Then the Philistines seized him and gouged out his eyes, and they brought him down to Gaza and bound him with bronze chains, and he was a grinder in the prison. Old Dr. John Phillips says this is the picture of the progression of sin. There is the blinding effect of sin. There is the binding effect of sin, and there is the grinding effect of sin. That's a sermon for another time. And the saddest part of that is that Samson really believed that he was going to go out just like he always had. And he wasn't relying on God's strength. He was relying on his own. But he had no self-control. He had forgotten his commitment to God. And then finally, self-control means giving control to myself, of myself, to Jesus. This is just the bottom line. This is just the bottom line. You and I can never control self in our own strength. So my only hope, your only hope, is to surrender myself to the one who lives in me as a believer, which is the Holy Spirit. Jesus said some pretty strong words at times, and this was one of them. Luke chapter 9, verse 23. He said, "If anyone wishes to come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me." Now, the self that Jesus was talking about, yes, it was selfish ambition, but it's really the sinful nature. You know what that is? That's that part of our personality that says, give me, give me, give me. Right? And it all boils down to asking the question, who's in charge of your life, you or Jesus? Self-control simply means, Lord, you're in charge of my life. And by doing so, we daily deny our selfish ambition, our sinful nature, so that his nature, through the power of his Spirit, can manifest itself fully. Now, just a couple things here. First of all is simply this. Jesus in me will say no to the wrong things. Will say no to the wrong thing. Some of you are from my area, you remember